Anyway, hello. Sorry. Hello, and I'm back. Yes, I'm just sitting here. Oh, sorry about that. It should be good now. Latency should be good now. Oh, it's really dumb you can't change these things. You used... I feel like you used to be able to change them when it was the different system, but... whatever. Let me go to the stream on my phone. There it is. I have no idea about the scene, because there have been many scenes with Beatrice, so it could be anything. Could be anything. Back streets back. Alright. Yes. Ah, that was so beautifully apt to. Anyway, I have to close this code down. Zoop. Okay. And this. Alright. Anyway, Rosamari's death had not been caused by a projectile weapon. However, it was easy to suspect that the servants had been killed in such a manner. Will they come flying out of the dark? Or will they take careful aim and snipe from the shadows? Either way, they couldn't relax their tension for even an instant. But even so, when they reached the overhang in front of the entrance of the mansion and escaped the reach of the raindrops, they felt themselves breathing a sigh of relief. No problems for the first step. Unlike how it was for Rosa-san. Maybe they can't get their hands on us easily. I like to believe that. Kiria, unlock the door while we keep a lookout. Sure. Returning home to the mansion with a pair of SPs. What is an SP? SP. Special person? Secret personnel? Staff person. Makes me feel just like an executive. Ha 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 ha. If we had a welcoming party of servants with a red carpet, it'd be perfect. A welcoming party, huh? Oh. A welcoming party, huh? You never know. Be careful. As the two cautiously surveyed their surroundings, Kiria unlocked the entrance with the master key she had been given. It's open. Hideyoshi-san, could you take the front? Security personnel. Ah, that makes sense. I'll keep an eye on the rear. Understood. Kiria-san, try not to move from my shadow. Okay, let's break in. Rear guard, roger that. Covering. So embarrassing. Men. I know. I know. Yeah, I mean, like, her reaction to the, yeah. Even in a situation like this, you're just playing around, aren't you? Not the fact that I'm men, just, like, being like... like, so embarrassing. Give it up, that's how men are. Apparently. Seriously, though, that stench is awful. It felt like the air in the mansion was stagnant with a gloomy silence. And on top of that, it was still thick with the stench from Kinzo's burnt corpse in the boiler room. Mmm! Delicious. And they were struck with an uncontrollable desire to leave the mansion. But they were starving to death. No problems in the front. Just a short dash to the kitchen. Let's finish this quickly and head home. This suit will get fumigated with Dad's stench. And then I'll have to be naked too. The three of them dashed towards the kitchen. Just like my son, at one time. Ah, rip. They were gonna die, aren't they? And after they disappeared from the entrance hall, the new witch appeared there. They were lured out, just as planned. Just as planned, they got caught in my trap. I had no idea what her voice is. The witch grinned. Thinking about it now, no matter how unbearable their hunger had grown, it hadn't even been a few hours since Rosa and Maria had been attacked and lost their lives. In that case, why had they needed to recklessly leave the guest house? Until that question could be dealt with, the only answer was that they had been called out by the witch's magic. What reckless people. They'll never leave this mansion alive. Seal yourself, Locke. Seal yourself, mansion. The instant she proclaimed that... Rip. Ah, good. The mansion was sealed off into a separate world. Give her a teenager voice, whatever that means. Yes. Unless her barrier was undone, no longer would anyone be able to exit this mansion or enter it. I should really put my phone on this side so that I'm facing in this direction. Spectacular! To think that even though barely half a day has passed since you succeeded the endless witch, you can use magic this well. That talent surprises me. It's almost as though you were born a witch. Well, I have been a witch since the time of my birth. Who taught you how to blink? That's where using magic is like for me. What a fearsome person. The witch's face twisted with brutality. She just couldn't help looking forward to toying with someone's life again. Well then. First up is Rudolph and Kyria. But in what cruel way should I kill them? If you don't mind me saying, your predecessor Summer has left instructions that you are to restrain yourself from committing murders of unnecessary cruelty. Yeah, see? I thought I remembered that. And there's an etiquette. Etiquette? I hate this word. Well, I hate saying it. For offering the sacrifices from the fourth twilight onwards. For that, you must borrow the power of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. Oh, really? Now that you mention it, that's right. I could only play as I like with that second twilight. Boring. Just when I thought I could play to my heart's content like I did with Rosa. But that only counts for how they're killed in the end, right? Meaning? I could just kill them however I want over and over again, revive them, and then follow the epitaph during the last time I killed them, right? During the last time I killed them, right? So in the end, no matter how I play, it isn't a problem. Who'd act well behaved with an entertaining power like this? Another word I hate. Absurd argument was, for an endless witch, an extremely valid one. The etiquette that controlled the manner of killing... See, I really want to say etiquette, but I don't think that's how you pronounce it. Etiquette. I think it's etiquette, but like my face doesn't want to... It sounds wrong, feels wrong. It sounds right, but feels wrong. Yeah. Anyway, they controlled the manner of killing the sacrifices of the... Because New Zealanders really love to add little... We love palatalization, just like when you add little sounds to things. Sort of. And we love diphthongs and... Anyway. The etiquette that controlled... So etiquette is really hard to say for me. Anyway, they controlled the manner of killing the sacrifices of the fourth twilight. Apparently, whenever I read this game, play this game, it's like linguistics time with Nocturnal Owlie. I didn't mean to click past the thing. I wasn't done. Oh, scroll wheel, why? The etiquette that controlled the manner of killing the sacrifice of the fourth twilight and onward was represented by lines like gouge the head. However, that referred to the way those people died in the end. In other words, in the process leading up to that, she was free to tease and kill them however she wanted. Wait, so if there's like a chapter 9, does that mean that the game, in what I have at the moment, these question and answer arcs, isn't actually the end of the game? Or is it like an extra story or like an extra thing? Is it like the anime where it never actually ended? No, it's like a K, even the original French. Right. Another word that I hate saying is Quebec. I want to say Quebec. Isn't it Quebec? In French, anyway. Or in Quebecois. Anyway, she just had to keep on reviving them and follow the rules only when she killed them the final time. Though Ronove felt that her innocent cruelty was part of her talent as a witch, he was beginning to notice an innately brutal side of her. They do say that apprentices are the most brutal of witches. Now I see this may be true. Do as you wish, is what I would like to say. But here it may actually be wiser to show restraint. They have guns. Weapons with a high anti-magic power, such as guns, are the natural enemies of witches and demons. It's a wonderful message to send. The witch stared blank. I mean, every horror movie has taught me otherwise, but sure. The witch stared blankly at this demon butler, who was surprisingly afraid of guns. That can't be right. Shouldn't witches be able to take a shot from a bullet easily? No. It would be just as fatal for a witch as it would be for a normal human. To prevent that weak point from being noticed, most witches rigorously strengthen their guard with the defense of protective barriers and furniture. Furniture? Do I have any of those protective barrier things? Constructing a barrier to make even gum bullets ineffective requires much in the way of preparation and ceremonies. I'm afraid to say that Beatrice Summer currently has none of those. Furthermore, you are currently ill-prepared to summon furniture strong enough to block a bullet. So, even though I've become a great witch with this much magical power, I really do have to be afraid of lead bullets. It's annoying, but I don't have a choice. So in that case, should I call some furniture to act as my arms and legs? Yes. Leave. Oh, furniture is in the servants. Right. I was thinking like actual furniture. It doesn't feel right! It sounds right, but it doesn't feel right. I'll say Quebecois. This sounds so wrong. Anyway, leaving everything to your servants while not exposing yourself to danger is also a part of a witch's refined tastes. Beatrice Summer, leave this to the furniture and hide in a safe place. I get it. I call on the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. Great, more voices I don't remember. I don't care who, any two. Leviathan and Belphegor responded to that call. Leviathan of Envy right here. Belphegor of Sloth right here. Show me your power. Your targets are Rudolph and Kyrie. Don't attack Hideyoshi. Come on, show me just how cruel you can be, furniture. My apologies, but we've received orders from the predecessor summon to refrain from unnecessarily cruel actions. But I think the predecessor summon's order does give us some leeway to tease them. Do you still want to go through with it? I get it. I'll compromise. Don't let them die easily. Thoroughly corner them and let them taste the fear of death before killing them. I'm so used to my phone being on this side of the monitor. It's messing with my head. Will that be okay, Reneve? Yes. Depending on the degree, I do not believe there will be a problem. Then go. Oh, by the way, welcome to the stream. Zabu Jones. Shabu Jones. Yes, leave it to us. Yes, leave it to us. Your opponents are armed with guns. For those such as you, dodging them should be easy. But if you are hit, the wound will be fatal. Proceed with an appropriate level of caution. Don't worry. We aren't that incompetent. The two sisters of Purgatory vanished. Reneve bowed and vanished himself. There are even rules on how to kill them. Oh, there are even rules on how to kill them. Why do I have to be constrained by my predecessor summer? So rigid and boring. As the witch looked up at the portrait of the predecessor Beatrice hung in the hall, she cursed. The three people had already arrived at the kitchen and were gathering food supplies. Considering the possibility of poison, they gave up on the alluring fruits and vegetables, and gathered a whole cardboard box full of only the safe canned foods. It was very heavy, but by piling it on the cart, they could carry it well enough. This should be more than enough for 10 people to hold out until tomorrow's breakfast. That should carry them until the boat arrives. The two men were supposed to be focused solely on guard duty, but the weight of the load was tough on Kyrie, even with the cart. Hideyoshi, who wanted to show off his power, switched to be the cart pusher, and Rudolph and his wife took up the task of guard duty. Okay. With all this, even George and the kids will be full. The trip back will be a picnic, so let's go. When Hideyoshi vigorously announced their departure, Kiria frowned and seemed to be gazing into the distance. There was a wall in that direction. No, if her gaze could go through that, there was the main hall beyond it. What is it, Kiria? It's vague, but I've got a bad feeling gnawing at me. Kiria stopped walking and narrowed her eyes even further. Great. Bella's gonna lose both his parents. Again. Woman's intuition? At times like this, Kiria's intuition often rang true, even when she didn't have a logical reason. Rudolph believed in that intuition. Yes. Someone's probably waiting to ambush us. Yes, women are magical beings. I didn't sense them before, but just now I felt it. Just now someone set up an ambush for us. Then there's no reason to go back the way we came. And there's a back door over there, right? Let's leave that way. Rudolph made to unlock the back door. When goods are carried into the kitchen, they never passed through the part of the mansion that the family came and went from. So outside the back door, there was probably a ramp used to carry things in. Surely they would be able to leave through there with the cart. What the heck? It's stuck. Damn, what's going on? Can't you open it? No. Is it broken? It isn't giving an inch. Rip. Oh. Rudolph tried various things, first using force, then coaxing it, but the lock was as hard as stone and didn't even budge. Don't force it. Let's leave through the front entrance. Right now, it would be even worse if we stand around wasting time. Oh. You think this is a trap? I don't know. Be careful. With strained expressions, the three of them returned to the hall again and headed for the entrance. Who is it? The instant they exited into the hall, Rudolph noticed a suspicious shadow right in front of them and yelled. In that instant, a storm of gold leaf started blowing, and gold butterflies covered the area with a gold flower color. Jesus, reading is hard. Got her face. I can't believe it. Oh, I can't believe it. A lowly human predicted our ambush. Oh wait, it's her. I can't believe it. It isn't my fault. I was hiding my presents. Don't hesitate. Fire! The two guns spouted fire. The lead bullets blasted right through the magical defense of the pair as easily as though it were a wet paper wall. But the two figures that should have been there had disappeared. Certainly, guns were frightening objects for them, but there was no need to fear as long as they weren't hit. They at least had enough speed to dodge those. Wait a sec, you won't even give us a chance to say our names? This is why I hate humans. Leviathan was a full 10 meters from where she had supposedly been, popping her head out from behind the pillars in the shadow of the staircase and protesting. In accordance with Beatrice Summer's orders, we will hunt you down. Our orders tell us to make it take some time and to tease you. You are free to resist, but know that it will be useless. Oh, it's her. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know who's talking. That voice came from overhead. Belphegor could be seen on top of the hall chandelier. Elegantly looking down upon them, she proclaimed their execution with a cruel smile. Well, what are these girls? Forget the cart. We have two opponents, so if we split up, they can't chase all of us. All three of them were well acquainted with the inside of the mansion. In case of a crisis, they had planned to run off in separate directions, returning to the guest house by breaking windows or leaving through a back door. Fighting was forbidden, as long as they could fully escape. Ha ha ha! In a tight spot, escaping is victory. In a tight spot, escaping is victory. The two of them ran to the depths of the mansion at full tilt. The pair of furniture calmly watched them go. They're so dumb. It's like they're leaving the food, so it's like I mean, of course, but like it's like such a waste of effort. So they don't even get to keep the food. Calmly watch them go. I'll kill the woman. You take the man. Understood. The furniture and the shadows of the pillars and on the chandelier made their figures explode, and, leaving behind only the sound of a hopping beetle knocking against the wall, they pursued their respective targets. Their speed was overwhelming, and they easily blocked the others' paths of retreat. Let's see what this furniture's got. I hope they're at least able to amuse me. Beatrice-sama, it may not be prudent for you to reveal your form unnecessarily. And you don't unnecessarily move your king away from the center. That's part of a monarch's and a witch's dignity. Belphegor was already blocking the way in front of Rudolph, who had boldly tried to escape to the second floor. It's useless to try and resist or escape. You don't need to think about anything. Just close your eyes. I'll gently end it all for you. You'd make a good wife. Oh. Husbands love to hear that kind of thing when they come home all tired. I think you're still relaxed enough to speak with such insolence at a time like this. Beatrice-sama, thank you for this excellent prey. Yeah, this music is great. I feel like I've heard it before, but maybe not. Beatrice-sama, thank you for this excellent prey. Die! Oh, Jesus, hello. Oh, God. Oh, that's so pretty, isn't it? Rudolph shot first. But even before that bullet could hit her, Belphegor had already moved behind Rudolph's back. Rip. She then raised a purple curve, springing out from her arm. However, incredibly, before that arm could decapitate Rudolph, he had swung his gun behind him. The barrel remained pointing behind his back, from the same motion from which he had reloaded the sawed-off gun one-handedly. Okay. It was pointing right at Belphegor's chest. Click. Ch-clunk. It was the sound of the ejected empty cartridge finally hitting the wall after the reload. In other words, it meant that the next shot was already fully loaded. Without turning around, his gun pointing right at Belphegor's chest, Rudolph grinned. Not bad. For a middle-aged man. Don't look down on the generation that loves old westerns, okay? Okay. You brats don't know anything about the refinement of a lever action. Totally know what that is. Sure. Just like Rudolph, Kyria was also confronting a demon stake in the first floor corridor. What? Did he What a moron. You could have just escaped with your husband. You do know that was your final farewell just now, right? Don't worry. This kind of thing is my husband's specialty. I'm sure he'll come for me on a white horse soon. Because he's never failed to come and save me when I'm in trouble. Not even when Asuma-san was around. Who's Asuma-san? What a happy couple. I'm jealous. I am Leviathan of envy. Envy itself is my power, my anger, my lifeblood. I agree. Envy is the source of a woman's power. This game says some things. Okay. And if that is power, I won't lose to a girl like you. Imagine saying that to the one who governs envy. You actually think I'd let you two be reunited? Ah! I'll give you a tragic farewell. The arm Leviathan swung was trailed by a purple curve. Okay, boomer. It was a magic blade that cut with the power of malice. Kyria blocked it with her gun. Even though the magic blade should have cut through the metal like butter, the gun, with its extremely high magic resistance power, was able to block the blade as easily as if it were a rolled up newspaper. Rapidly, 2 times, 3 times, it blocked all of them. And without missing the opening created when that purple curve took a swing upward, Kyria kicked Leviathan in the stomach with her heel. Leviathan was knocked away like a lightly dancing feather. Ooh. What does that remind me of? Is it in Noragami? Before the demon's stake's feet touched ground again, Kilia was already pointing a gun directly at Leviathan in midair. From that position, the two women who had called envy a form of power met each other's gaze. Asuma-san is Rudolph. Oh! Oh, yes. Oh, hello! What is with this cut? This whole scene is very, like, interesting close-ups and stuff. It's nice. Can you do it? Can you pull that trigger? Oh, Jesus. I can be brutal when my husband isn't around. What is this? This is so cool. Why does the rest of the game not have this? Or much of this, anyway. Goodness. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Is that really what he would say? I feel like it would be more like, fuck, shit, ah, jeez, fucking crap. Rudolph tumbled down the staircase. They'd been gradually cornered by Belphegor and had been pushed back into the main hall they'd started from. The predecessor summer's furniture was pretty good. They aren't very flashy, though. Hitcher Summer! It isn't over yet, and it's dangerous to show yourself. Don't tell me you're... Eva. That used to be my name, but it's different now, Rudolph. You don't have to tell me. You're gonna say you're the Golden Witch Beatrice, right? How did you know? Since the time Rosa was killed, I had a vague idea. Rosa, forgive me. Forgive me for sending the sister you hated down to the hell you're in. Oh, down to the hell you're in. Oh, I see. Beatrice-sama, look out! Rudolph mercilessly pointed the barrel of his gun at the witch, who claimed to have once been his sister. But Belphegor would not permit that, and attacked savagely. Oh, rip. She dashed, disappeared, and headed for Rudolph's back. She dodged that shot, and again headed for Rudolph's back. And vanished over and over, instantly moving into Rudolph's blind spots. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, God. It was almost like she was a fairy. As she blinked in and out of vision, Belphegor incessantly drove towards Rudolph. God, her face. Maybe this is kind of fun. Rudolph, let me sit back and watch to see how long your brave efforts last you. At that time, there was a dull, tearing sound along with Rudolph's cry of anguish. Rudolph's reaction to the dance of the purple curve that pressed upon him had finally been too slow, and he let it lightly cut his flank. That single wound slowed him down just once. That led to a new wound, which slowed his actions again. Belphegor's dance began to swallow Rudolph whole. Watching Rudolph's body gradually get carved up, his former sister let out a shrill laugh. Goodness. Welcome to the stream! Zecto. We are having fun, yes. Leviathan could no longer hide her irritation that Kidia hadn't suffered a single fatal wound. I really am a moron. Among the seven sisters, I was always the slowest to grow. I was always slow, always weak, always stupid. That inferiority complex became envy, and when I convert that into power, I gain a strength greater than that of any of the sisters. It's important for young girls to have a moderate inferiority complex. What? It teaches women about cosmetics and hard work. Okay. No, 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 no. Stop it. I mean, I'm wearing cosmetics, but no, stop it. That's a terrible thing to say. It's so terrible. Oh my, do you know how much, I ranted about this recently in Discord. Do you know how much women are taught as a, like, not as a child, not as a child, as an adolescent, to hate themselves and to hate other women. But oh my goodness. Anyway, I don't like having to use the limits of my power against mere humans, but I can turn my envy of your ability to trust completely in your husband into power. No, yep. There's a lot of things in this that's like, oh, okay. I admire your ability, no. I'm hot now. Oh goodness. Oh god. I can turn my envy of your ability to trust completely in your husband into power. I don't like it. Why are you so relaxed when you're fighting for your life? I wonder. I get it. You're fully convinced that your husband will come to your rescue and save you. Isn't it incredible, that trust of yours? It's enough to make me jealous. What kind of trust did we sisters have for each other? Oh, what kind of trust did we sisters have for each other? Wait, I don't know which sisters we're talking about here. The sisters are always looking down on each other, trying to thoroughly lambast each other when things already look bad. I've always been bullied by my sisters. I've always wanted just one person to take my side. So when I see you with a single ally who's completely trustworthy, I feel the strongest envy. Ah, that confident expression of utter belief in your husband. I can feel it giving me power. I might even surpass that. The speed of sound. Leviathan turned herself into a stake, and the speed of her flight as she attacked was proportional to the strength of her envy. Since the day my sisters looked down on me, I was jealous from the bottom of my heart of the other sex who gruely. Yep, who gruely quick. Think about it. I was jealous for 7 days and 7 nights. You can see the power I gained as a result of my speed. Die, Shiromiya Kirie! Demon Stake exposed her true form, leaping about at a terrible speed. The noise of her bouncing off the walls sounded like a machine gun. I think we've heard this song before. I feel like I think I hummed along to it in the last stream, maybe. I feel like I know this song already. And I think I got a copyright strike on it. It was great. Or copyright claim or whatever. It's great. Anyway, the noise from her bouncing off the wall sounded like a machine gun. By now, Kiria probably couldn't tell if it was a single stake or a swarm of beetles flying and bouncing around. Leviathan was over 100% certain of her victory, believing in it from the bottom of her heart. Then, Kiria spoke with an unbelievably calm voice, and the music got very quiet. I was the one who went out with Rudolph-san first. Asumu-san blatantly cut in between us. Oh. And shrewdly got pregnant. She must hate the shit out of Battler then. Rip. I don't blame Rudolph-san. You don't? Oh, okay. Oh, it hurts my brain. Mother, save me. But you, how can you not blame him? Oh my goodness. You know, it's not hard to keep your penis in your pants. I mean, I'm not a guy, but it's surely not that hard. I just... Anyway. That woman used her body as a weapon to seduce him and then acted even more repulsively. Concerning Rudolph-san and cornering Rudolph-san and forcing him to get engaged to her. I thought they was forcing him to do something else. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, you did. Asumu-san had been carrying Batlokin. And at the same time, I was also carrying a boy. As fate would have it, our delivery dates are on the same day. Wait. What? Then, Asumu-san gave birth to Batlokin. But I had a miscarriage. Oh, rip. I think about it sometimes. What if Asuma-san had had the miscarriage, and I had been the one to give birth? Would Uro-san have broken off his engagement and married me? But I couldn't give birth to my own. But I couldn't give birth to my child. That's terrible. No wonder she's fucked up in the head. So, I mean, like, no wonder she has these things to say. Miscarriage is fucking horrible. So until Asuna-san died, and until I got pregnant with Ange, I cursed Asuma-san and was jealous. Let Asuma-san die. Then I want him to marry me. In my envy, I kept cursing like that over and over until Asuma-san finally died. Okay. How can you not blame him? There are literally women who are anti-choice in regards to abortions. Yes, there are, and it's terrible. But wait, how can you not? But like, but she's like not blaming him for getting her pregnant though, which is fucked up. Yeah, being anti-choice. Anyways, then I want oh yes, I read all this. Okay. I was certain that I'd use the power of magic to curse and kill Asuma-san. But that didn't quell the flames of my envy. Don't tell anyone, okay? Every time I look at Batlika and I remember that woman, every single time I look at him, I think that if only my child had been born, he would be the same age. I'm still jealous of her, tormented by her. Even now, and from now on, into the future, for all eternity. Rip. You say you were jealous of your sisters for 7 days and 7 nights? That's right. Oh, the music got that again. Oh, Jesus! Oh, God. Oh, it's scary. Jesus, like... it's always the quiet ones. Don't make me laugh, little girl. How could you understand the madness of a woman whose man was stolen from her, who's burned with envy for 18 years? Wah! If Leviathan had the power of 24 hours times 7 days, or 168 hours of speed, then the power that Kiria had piled up was 24 hours in 1 day, 365 days in 1 year, and 18 whole years. Even without counting leap years, that was 157,680 hours. Compared to Leviathan's power and speed, it was more than 938 times greater. So then, even if Leviathan could soar at the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers an hour, to Kiria's eyes, it only looked like 1/938th of that. Which means 1,225 divided by 938 is a speed of 1.3 kilometers an hour. They say a human's walking speed is 4 kilometers an hour, so it was even less than half of that. This is almost the same speed as a baby crawling on the floor. Which means... Goodness. It's over 150,000! In the time it took the demon stick to move at a pace so slow that you could count all the bits of dust floating through the air, Kiria looked at it with pity. Oh, her face was creepy for a second. She pitied the slowness at which it came towards her. I think she just has some very backwards ideas. I mean, you can't necessarily help who you fall for, but not blaming him is... Okay. takes two to have sex. Well, unless it's... Okay, let's just... Never mind. Then she lazily raised the barrel of her gun, almost as though she was trying to swallow the demon stake up with the gun barrel. Never mind. I take back what I said. You're completely lacking in both romance and envy. Try harder next time, little girl. Rudolph, what happened to all that vigor from a couple seconds ago? You're supposed to slice up a fish while it's still flopping around. It's more that, no, I said, that's the opposite of what I said. I said that you can't help who you fall in love with. But, blaming the woman for the whole thing is unfair. Or, yeah, unfair on the woman. Yeah. Assuming that Rudolph consented to it, then it's not, he's to blame as well. You're supposed to slice up a fish while it's still flopping around. After it dies, it isn't interesting anymore. That's interesting. That's enough. Why not kill you now? Oh, okay. Damn it. I'm surprised you managed to endure this long after being carved up. That's enough. From now on, you don't need to think about anything. I'll seal away your life painlessly. Wait, there's a favor I want to ask. At the very end, I want to do one of those. What do you mean, one of those? You know, that thing you see in all the westerns. Are we gonna see hell on wheels now? Is that what's happening? We start with our backs together, walk through steps, and then bang! Oh, that doesn't happen. Actually, does it? Maybe it does. Ah, a duel. Very well. If that will satisfy your regrets in this world, I'll accept it. I'll accept. Rudolph moved his... What is with all the close-ups? It's amazing. Rudolph moved his wound-covered body and turned his back to her. Belphegor responded and turned her back to his. Belphegor had an honest nature that was uncommon in a witch's furniture. Let me warn you, even if you press the barrel of your gun between my eyebrows, I can move instantaneously, even faster than you could pull the trigger, and have the bullet reach my skull. Yeah, I can feel that already. You're faster than a bullet. I have agreed to this out of respect for your courage in challenging me to a duel despite that knowledge. Thank me. Well, you're an honest and principled person, and a good woman. You might just steal my heart away. Let's begin. 3 steps will do fine, yes? First, 1 step. I like how they're actually moving. 2 steps. 3 steps. Is that okay? Yep. And since you still haven't noticed after walking 3 whole steps, it's my victory, miss. What? Ah! Rudolph turned around and fired a bullet. However, Belphegor could easily see through the speed and trajectory of a bullet like that. It should have been no problem at all to dodge it. Rip. But a spray of fresh blood flew about. Belphegor had set up an adequate magical defense barrier, but before an incarnation of anti-magic power such as that bullet, it was completely meaningless. What are you doing? Why'd you get hit? The bullet had hit Belphegor right in the chest. Pain from the lead caused her to grimace, as did the pain from the denial of magic. Forgive me. I'm a coward of a man. But what a killjoy. To think the furniture of a witch could be defeated by a human. Know your shame. Worthless. Pathetic. If only you just grovel and die. Quit it, Aniki. She could have dodged it, but she didn't. She realized that you were in the line of fire, Aniki. Ah! Very good. This faithful girl took it without dodging, protecting you. At the very end, she saw that I was pinning the rook and the king. Very clever. Kudos. Spectacular. Don't hate me for it. I planned to resign if you noticed it while you were taking those 3 steps. You added those 3 steps out of consideration for me. Oh, she's like darkish. You added those 3 steps out of consideration for me, didn't you? I didn't even try to think about it. I was lazy. You said you're not a good example for girls. Or guys. Can't wrap my head around the use of furniture. I keep picturing the yeah, I know. Same. That's what I thought she meant at first. I was very confused. You were a good woman. Go to heaven before me. Get yourself all made up. I'll definitely come and chat you up. I'm gonna blow my nose at you. Wipe my nose at you, Rudolph. This guy needs a punch in the dick. I mean, what? As Belphegor slowly fell over, she lost even the power that kept her in human form, and she grew small, like gold dust, melting into thin air. At that point, Kyria dashed in. It seemed that she had somehow defeated her pursuer by her own hands. As she pointed the barrel of her gun straight at the witch, she ran up to the wound-covered Rudolph. Are you okay? Were you chatting someone up just now? Yep, a good woman. No match for you, of course. Sorry, Aniki. It's checkmate. The 2 of them... I love these close-ups, they're amazing. The 2 of them pinned the witch down the barrels of their guns. Worthless furniture. Do you think they'd be beaten by human opponents? Worthless. Stupid. Boring. Beatrice, Emma. We should retreat for now. Sorry, just got a text from my mom. There is no furniture or barrier to guard against bullets here. Oh, okay. The witch began to let out a muffled laugh. It surprised not only Rudolph and Kyria, but Ronove as well. Because a situation like this, with 2 guns pointed at her, was not one that even a witch could just laugh up. Maybe she's in Hell on Wheels, though, they do that all the time. But the witch laughed with pleasure. Well, it's only natural that the predecessor... That's another word I don't like. Predecessor Summer's worn-out furniture couldn't do it. I need to get new furniture that's suitable for me. I use them out of obligation. But I've always hated second-hand stuff. As she said that, she looked down at Belphegor's remains, which had already finished turning into a pile of gold dust. Of gold dust, with disgust. I don't know what you're talking about. Be a good girl. Put your hands up. Then the witch obediently raised her hands. But instead of raising her hands because a gun was being pointed at her, it looked more like she was a conductor facing an orchestra, waving her conductor's baton. Come, arise, furniture suitable for me. Not that cheap furniture, much stronger ones. Cruel ones. Sorry. My stream stopped. Okay. Stop this bizarre act. I'll pull the trigger. I'll pull the trigger. In response to the witch's call, the hall was once again buried with the color of gold. What is Syconia? What is that? Oh yeah, people do keep talking about the original ones. The original sprites. What's expensive? Oh, Syconia. Oh, is it? Huh. Syconia no Naku Koroni. What is what it just like? What is like? What does that mean? Syconia. Syconia. Ah, storks. Yeah, I know that Umineko is seagulls. It's funny because it's like sea cat. Like, what about them is cat-like, but okay. Storks, interesting. Yeah, storks. Wait, so that's the next one? Do you mean like it's the latest one? I've never heard of it before. Or do you mean like it's the next one after this one? Unless it's the same. I don't know if this is the no, this isn't the newest one, is it? Before that? Oh yeah, like Signet. This is a swan, right? Isn't it? Oh, it's after Umineko. Okay. Anyway, in response to the witch's call, the hall was once again buried with the color of gold. As the brilliantly radiant gold butterflies danced, it felt as though they were being sucked into an ocean of gold leaf. Ronove was shocked at that upsurge of magical power. After all, it far surpassed that of his former master. As their eyes were dazzled amidst this golden flash, a gunshot could be heard. Are you playing Star Citizen? Umineko. I mean, Umineko. Just give up. I mean, incorrect. And yes, you are. Anyway. Sorry. Wait, what's happening with this one? There we go. Okay. Either Rudolph or Kilia had fired around. Then, when the golden flash subsided, at the very least the witch was standing there, looking cool and composed. The bullet? Kilia must have fired it into her. But the witch had not been hit anywhere on her body. There it is. The bullet had been fastened in mid-air right in front of the witch's chest. A bulletproof barrier? In an instant, a barrier that would require a significant amount of preparation even for the predecessor head. What? In an instant, a barrier that would require a significant amount of preparation even for the predecessor had been... ... Ronove's face was twisted in shock. Ryukishi is not feeling too healthy. Is it a game as well, or is it an anime? Oh, I see. He could actually. I see. And the surprises did not end there. The cloud of gold butterflies had created 2 humanoid forms. It was a furniture summoning. Oh, they look very different. The butterflies peeled off and flew away, and beneath them, furniture in the shape of girls showed themselves. The Chiesta Sisters Corps. What? Even the predecessor wasn't able to summon Pendragon's memorial troops on a moment's notice, and to do it so easily. Is it Chiesta? Chester? Chiesta? Chiesta 410, right here. Chiesta 45, right here. I like her hair. You two are suitable furniture for me, I take it? From reading a picture book out aloud to going on a date to shooting down meteorites. We'll take care of anything. If we don't take care of it, Pendragon Summer will get mad at us. Please, your orders, great Lady Beatrice. What's your reading? Rudolph-san. Oh. Rudolph-san. Let's run for it. We're no match for these ones. Sure. Kitty had definitely heard warning sirens going off in her head. Thanks to the same feeling that had alerted her to the ambush by the 7 Sisters of Purgatory. Without hesitation, they escaped. Why did Google want to hold that comment for review? Strange. Oh, because there's a swear in it, that's why. YouTube. As the witch elegantly watched them leave, she commanded her new furniture. This is an order. Kill the 2 who ran away. What is her face? Then bring the corpses back here. I'll bring them back to life and play with them over and over. The witch's expression twisted into an evil smile. Even though she feared that expression, Lucifer appeared and spoke. Forgive my presumption, but the predecessor summer asked that you avoid brutal actions of that sort. When the witch stared at her with those terrifying eyes, Lucifer was struck dumb. She was frustrated. It was so boring not being able to let her own power and cruelty run wild. This annoying furniture of the predecessor kept telling her to show restraint, bringing her irritation to a peak. Oh, it's Lucifer of Pride. Long time no see, yeah? How are you doing? Let's play together again sometime. You mustn't whisper, 410, you'll get in trouble. Oh, she's whispering? Long time no see, yeah? How are you doing? Let's play together again sometime. Let us carry out the great Lady Beatrice's order at once. Well, yeah, we are on the job right now, yeah. Whoa, what the hell's happening? Why is there Greek? What's happening? It's backwards. It's backwards Greek. This is morning. I mean, it's not really Greek. It's like English, but written in Greek letters. This is morning. This is... Oh, this is good morning. I don't know what this is. Home. This is an O. This is... I don't remember what... This is a... Oh, this is an E. O-L... Home. Is that wrong? The... What is this letter? Oh, an I. P-I-R-I-N-G? Piring? No, firing. This is a F, I think. Anyway. Well, yeah, we're on the... Wait, what does this say there? Oh, this isn't in Greek. Fright. Oh, guidance system. Oh, but wait. Booted fright guidance system? Fright? Okay. Anyway, well, yeah, we're on the job right now, yeah? 410, roger that. Preparing for sniping pursuit combat. Is this now, what is that one game? What is that game? I've streamed it before, or some of it. What was it called? I was just looking at it before. Oh, I can see it in my head. It's like World War II or World War One. Oh, I think it's World War One. How is that game? Anyway. Yes. Initiating data connection. Accumulating terrain data. Accumulating data for firing. Data link with 410. Forming... Oh, firing. Oh, this is firing. Not fright. I thought this was an H. Firing guidance. I see. Firing curve. Looks so weird back then. 410 data received. Target lock acquired. Commencing terrain calculation error correction. It's fine. Anyway. Formulating firing curve. Supplemental control point calculations complete. Data link to 45. 45. Data received. Chicken hazard zone. Ah, that's no good. Lucifer-chan, better get out from behind us, or you'll get roasted by the backblast. Thanks to their paired measurements, the Chiesa sisters were able to instantly calculate the terrain throughout the mansion. And thanks to their paired measurements, the Chiesa sisters were able to instantly calculate the terrain throughout the mansion and the coordinates of their targets, as well as the firing curve to reach them. That's right, their shots could be guided to follow a curved line. None could escape. The precision guidance, precision, another word I hate, guidance used by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. There's nothing more. I love that it's raining right now. In real life, there's nothing more than a cheap knockoff of the ability these two held. Why are they wearing a Norwegian flag? That's a Norwegian flag, isn't it? Or is it backwards? Maybe the Norwegian flag has a blue cross and a red background. Oh, okay. Bye, Zabu Jones. Thank you for coming to the stream. 45. Firing preparations concluded. This is so weird. Ammo type selected and loaded. As the two of them faced each other, it was as though they were both pulling back a bowstring together. A dazzling gold arrow was ready there. 410. Firing. After giving that announcement, they released a single arrow together. As the path taken by the gold sparkling snake of light drew a curve, it followed the direction that Rudolph and Kiria had escaped to in rapid pursuit. It turned through the corridors, crawled over the floor, chasing them as it drew a beautiful curve. No one could block the guided shots of the Chiesa sisters. No one could escape from them. These images are closer to the anime pictures, like sprites, aren't they? That's probably why I like them. Oops. And their strength could pierce all physical and magical defenses. If I'd seen the anime with the originals, maybe I would be more inclined to use the original sprite. It was quite a merciless guided weapon of certain death. However, among mythical class soldiers, it was a weapon used by pretty much everyone. It was very commonplace for them, and very extraordinary for those of the everyday world. Well, what the? When he noticed something rapidly chasing them and turned around, so he was more like, what the? I see. The exact position of Rudolph's heart was pierced by the gold snake. It all happened in an instant. Rudolph-san? After the gold snake pierced Rudolph, it swooped down to the floor, drawing a beautiful spiral, coiled itself around Kiria's legs and crawled up to her chest. That's a horrible image. Thanks. And just like Rudolph, it pierced the exact location of her heart. And all of that happened in an instant. It pierced Rudolph and then Kiria. How did it... It's interesting how Rudolph was it just went to his heart. But with Kiria, it tripped her up and then snaked up to her heart. Why does it have to be all weird and sexual with the woman? It pierced Rudolph and then... Is it raining enough? So they died, dropped to their knees, and fell over at almost the exact same time. Holy Jesus, it's raining. What's this? What's this? Talk about overwhelming. Ridiculously easy, isn't it? Cute! This is the kind of furniture I need. Way different from predecessor Summer's second-hand furniture. Come on, bring their corpses here. I'll keep reviving them until I'm bored, and I'll try killing them in as brutal a way as I can think of. To think being a witch could be so much fun. That taking a life could be so much fun. Kids was a certified Westaboo. Westaboo. From the time humans are born, the most shunned action they can take is the murder of another human. It's only natural that humans can't understand how pleasurable it can be to break this taboo. But she was no longer a human. She was a witch. And there were some pleasures that only witches could understand. By now she had tasted those pleasures and was totally immersed in them. After learning that the contents of the forbidden pot were honey, she could no longer live without them. No, maybe the contents were honey because they were forbidden. Anyway, by killing humans gruesomely and doing it over and over, she could feel the drug-like pleasure even now. As the witch rolled over, laughing, the gold snake that had just been shot returned as though been reeled in. At the tips, 2 people were pinned and dragged along. Jesus. The witch's order had been fulfilled. Rudolph and Kiria had been killed instantly, and their corpses had been carried back. GSS 45 and 410, order execution complete. We await your next order, great Lady Beatrice. Please, your orders. From babysitting to playing online games with you, to shooting down a space shuttle, we'll take care of everything. It looks like these 2 are the sacrifices for the 4th and 5th Twilights. So in the end, I'll need those worthless 7 sisters. Or are they the 5 sisters now? I need those guys to pierce and gouge their forehead and the chest. But I can do that at the very end. I'm free to play it any way I want until then, right? Wait. Have you already forgotten what I've told you? Oh, it's you, Predecessor Summer. Do you have any complaints? Of course I do. You're doing whatever you please, aren't you? Why haven't you followed my directions? What's wrong with doing as I please, Predecessor Summer? Anyway, I don't plan on deviating from the rules of the ceremony in the slightest. I'll definitely clean these 2 corpses up later and drive stakes into their forehead and chest. I'm telling you, that is not the problem. If you act so undignified and cruel, some people might take it badly. You mean your opponent in that game? The one you're supposedly fighting against somewhere? Ronove told me. Damn it, blabbermouth. Well, to be perfectly honest, that's how it is. If you go a little too far, that person will object, you see? Why can't this person just complain to me directly instead of making you take a message? That coward. Well, this is a resident of a different world from yours. There's no choice but to use me as an intermediary. Well, that's beside the point, but... Which means that this person couldn't interact with me even if they wanted to. And I can't interact with them even if I want to either. Simply put, this is a completely unrelated person from a world that distant, right? Indeed. For example, perhaps you could say these worlds are like very close parallel lines. The distance between them is quite small, but because the lines are parallel, they'll never cross. For now, there should be a convenient way for you to view that world. Goodness. They never cross, which means that world has nothing to do with me. If you're speaking for that person when you tell me to show restraint, please pass this message on to them. To them? What should I say? It's none of your business, so disappear, you old hag. If only you'd just give up and die. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Since it was a friend of yours, I just assumed she'd be a woman. By old hag, I'm definitely not talking about you, Predecessor Summer, so please don't get mad at me. When she spoke, the witch was looking straight into Beato's eyes. Anyone present would be able to tell what she meant by it. Rip. Predecessor Summer, there's something I find really strange. Why do you have to play a game with someone from another world? And have them accept that you're a witch? Well, as to that, it's because making all humans accept the existence of witches is a prerequisite of perfect control. And there was a single holdout who simply wouldn't accept me as a witch. Why would you need the approval of a human? Witches are witches and can use magic, so why should we need to be acknowledged by humans? Well, like I said earlier, magic is... I'm a witch. I can use magic without anyone's approval in particular, so what's your point? In this world, right. However... in this world, right? What? In this world, right? However, since that person won't accept it, how should I explain it? I don't need you to. After all, isn't all this about a different world that never crosses this one? In other words, that world might as well not exist. You fighting a game in another world is absolutely no different from you telling me about stuff from your imagination. I'll say it again. It has nothing to do with me. And I'm already a witch. Predecessor Summer. Somehow or another, it seems that you can't become a witch as long as this person doesn't acknowledge you. But I'm different. Even though no one has acknowledged me, I'm an excellent witch already. Since you are my predecessor, I will formally pay you respect. There's all kinds of fourth wall shit in this game. I will formally pay you respect, but that's out of kindness, not out of duty. I won't ask for your advice anymore, because I clearly know what I should do and how I should play from now on. So I will carry out the murder of 13 people as a final act of respect for you. However, there's absolutely no reason for you to interfere with the methods I use, or what I do afterwards. Therefore, I'll be counting on you in that regard. At a glance, those words seemed obedient, but they contained within them a clear parting of ways. She was no longer under Beato's care in any way. That's why she was clearly saying nothing more than "don't get in the way of my fun." Beato understood that, and was dejected, realizing that no matter how she explained it, she wouldn't be able to make the witch understand. I see. Then it is no longer my problem. Go and learn with your own body how magic ceases to exist when you lose your respect for it. I wish you'd tell me where the respect was in that carefree rampage of yours up until now. After hearing that, Beato could not respond, because she remembered hearing exactly the same thing from her teacher. Okay now. Cheers, sisters. See off my predecessor on her way back. Predecessor Summer, please leave this place. If you don't, we'll be scolded. She looks like Estelle. Throughout her body, Beato felt something unseeable from the Chiesa sisters, which could only be described as an oppressive sensation. Most likely they were initiating firing calculations. It was an action much like taking out a gun and cocking it. Even Beato could not escape from the Chiesa sisters' attacks without any preparation. In the past, she had placed her greatest trust in them, so she knew how terrifying they were down to her very soul. Predecessor Summer, if you would retire, I would not recommend damaging Beatrice Summer's mood any further. Predecessor Summer. I understand. I shall leave for now. I'll watch over the end you eventually reach at my leisure. It was almost infinitely close to a parting shot. So after Bertor vanished, the witch and her furniture doubled over laughing. Well, I do understand. The endless power is fun. The joy of freely toying with an extremely limited life cannot be explained to those who have not tasted it. I can understand their feeling of being possessed with a pleasure similar to drugs. It must have been quite fun, judging by your antics in the past. Are you saying it's just like when you tried to admonish me in the past over and over and I did not listen? Why have you started trying to scold that child for her actions? Well... There's a single large difference between you and that child. That child may already be a witch. Of course you are also a witch. At least in the world on top of the game board. However, to be acknowledged as a witch in the world outside the game board, you need to have Batlacon, your opponent in this game, acknowledge you. You must have understood that when you started the game. I thought that if I could show off a whirlwind of proof that I'm a witch, blow away his desire to deny me and make him surrender, he would acknowledge me as a witch. It all went my way last time, so I thought I was just a breath away. It's actually the opposite. Batlacon was disgusted by your it's actually the opposite. Batlacon was disgusted by your brutality. He did not step up to the plate as a player because he acknowledged you as a worthy opponent. It was based on a strong animosity, his resolve to completely deny the existence of a brutal witch. In your foolishness, you probably felt that Batlacon's acceptance of his role as your opponent was the first step towards making him acknowledge you as a witch. However, it was actually the opposite. Batlacon challenged you in this game because he was absolutely determined not to acknowledge you. No matter how hard the thoughtless north wind blows, the traveller only wears his cloak even tighter. You were committing a huge error from the very beginning. That metaphor sounds really familiar. This game is not torture to make Batlacon surrender. It is a test in which you must try to make Batlacon accept you. Ooh. I've vaguely noticed that. The last game was a tough one for Battler. But, as it seems you've already noticed, this game is a tough one for you. What should I do from now on? Think about it for yourself. Fortunately, you have already given up your pieces on the game board to the new witch. Oh dear. Well, thank you for coming to the stream. Have a good sleep. Good night. You should have plenty of time to reflect upon your own self. But Battler's already a massive hostility to me. He won't accept witches, so he won't accept me. In that case, what can I do to make him accept me? Are you saying that if the North Wind doesn't work, then I should shine on him as the sun from now on? Me? After all this time? It's October now. The Halloween season. It's the month of rebirth, when the sun dies and is revived again. When the sun is weak right after reviving, it may not reach far through the cold winter winds. Hey, that's a cool idea. However, it slowly grows and is eventually able to hail the coming of spring. At that time, the traveller may even fold up his cloak. Oh, okay, thank you for coming to the stream, Zicto. Are you saying that I've been mistaken? The beautiful hall of the Ushiramiya mansion was covered with golden sparkle like gold leaf, and stained deep red with thick spurts of blood. That's disturbing. Looks like there's a tentacle here. The number of deaths given to Rudolph and Kiria had long surpassed anything you could count on both your fingers and your toes. Actually, one second. Sorry, I just texted my mum. Mama. Okay. The witch was breathing so hard her shoulders shook, but it wasn't because she was tired. She just couldn't hide her ragged breaths caused by her still uncontainable excitement. How fun it is to do as I will with people's lives and deaths. With the power of the endless witch, the endless everything I paint with my mind becomes reality. No matter how sloppily I mash them, I can revive them, returning them to normal with just a snap of my fingers. Because in the end, I just have to restore... Because in the end, I just have to restore the corpses and follow the epitaph as an afterthought. Hey, you guys. Have you ever sliced a stuffed animal's stomach open? Never. 45? What about you, 45? No. I have never done it. My apologies. That's understandable. Normally you wouldn't. Especially not if it was a stuffed animal you liked. But I've always thought about it. I've always thought about peeking in and seeing what was packed inside this fluffy stuffed animal I loved. When I was little, like I would have been maybe... How old would I have been? Maybe like 8 or 9? I had a Barney toy. I loved Barney when I was younger, but would always pretend that I didn't because it was super uncool to like Barney. I wanted to be on Barney. Anyway, not realizing that it was active. I was probably getting a bit late. Anyway, I remember because it, you know, like Barney has like he had like an open mouth with like teeth and stuff, and I'd like pretend to be a dentist on his teeth with like tweezers and stuff. It's just hilarious because I'm now fucking horrified of teeth. Like I don't know how dentists manage to dentist without like just throwing up constantly. Like the horrors you must have to see all the time. I guess you would get desensitized to it pretty quick, but like, whew, I think you have to be a certain type of person to be a dentist. Anyway, see what was packed inside this fluffy stuffed animal I loved. I guess it would be quite a satisfying job though, especially like teeth cleaning, because they'd be gross, then you'd clean them, and like that would maybe, but I have enough trouble with the shower drain. I don't need to be cleaning people's... Whoa! No. If you cut it and looked inside, your curiosity might be quelled, but the stuffed animal would be broken. So, even though you want to see, you can't. You understand that feeling, right? I mean, you could repair it, I guess. Okay. The power of the endless witch can truly grant that wish. As I am now, I can slice the stuffed animal all I want. And yet, with a bit of magic, I can return it to normal and revive it. In other words, it means I've broken all limitations in this world. As I am now, I don't have to hesitate or give up an idea or anything. That joy. There's probably no one who can understand it. No one other than me, the Golden Witch. As the witch let out a mad war cry, she revived Rudolph and Kiria again. And faster than they could realize it, she killed them right away. And she made it known that something other than cotton was stuffed inside those two. I sure hope so. Quit it, Eva! Huh? It's you. How long have you been there? In that gruesome hall, Hideyoshi appeared with his gun readied. The witch had sealed the mansion with a barrier, so Hideyoshi had nowhere to run. He had probably picked up Rudolph's or Kirye's gun and come back. The gun, which should have been something to be feared, was apparently no longer an object she took seriously, now that she was overflowing with magical power. Her bold expression didn't flinch in the slightest. Why did you have to kill Rosa-san and Maria-chan? And Rudolph-kun and Kirie-san? Huh? I am the head of the Ushiromiya family, the Witch of Rokkinjima. Everything that occurs on this island is all up to me. Whether they happen to be alive or dead at any particular moment in time is meaningless to me. You went mad after finding Father's gold. Just how high must that gold have been piled? That's right, I forgot about that. My nose is itching. Can't even imagine it. It must have been enough to steal away your sanity. But if there was that much gold, why didn't you think of graciously splitting it up? You misunderstand. All of that belongs to the Golden Witch. No one is qualified to touch it except me. What are you? Don't tell me you're that thing Eva told me about long ago. The witch Eva from when she was young. That's right. I am the me from my years as a girl, who's been living in the heart of your wife, Ushiromiya Eva, this whole time. And I'm a witch. Eva became an adult by forgetting me, so she can't use magic. All kids get their heads filled with innocent but cruel ideas sometimes. When I was young, I'd sometimes go around stepping on ants and pulling the wings off dragonflies. Sipping on ants I can understand because it's, you know, I mean, how many ants must you stand on accidentally in your lifetime? But pulling the wings off makes me very mad. I would fucking slap my kid if they were doing that. Well, that too. I used to kill ants when I was little. I used to eat ants when I was little. I know it's terrible. I feel bad about it. But pulling the wings off something is I mean, like, at least if you're killing an ant, you're killing it. Pulling the wing off something, that's not killing it. I mean, it's eventually killing it. It's just... I just used to poke snail eyes. Anyway, however, I learned the importance of life and graduated from that cruel childhood age. Good. Right now, you really are a child. The personality that I know ever graduated from. There was this kid in my class when I was in primary school who... He was one of those kids who probably came from a broken home and would, like, have these really crazy temper tantrums and... he would, like, throw furniture around and stuff and we would have to hide and stuff. This seriously happened. It's such a distant memory, it doesn't feel real, but it was. Anyway, and what was I gonna say? Oh, and I remember one time he was found pulling the legs off a spider, and I remember him getting this big lecture about, like, how would you feel if you... Well, I wonder what he's doing now. I hate to think what kind of adult he grew up into. I hope he grew up into a normal person and not a crazy child. Oh my god. I think if guns were a thing in New Zealand, well, they are now, but back then he would have been the type to maybe bring a gun to school. But we were, like, in primary school, so we were kids, but, like, under 10, but it's good times. Anyway, that personality isn't Eva. It's a completely different human. It only happened, like, a couple times, but enough that I remember. That's right. I'm not Ushiromiya Eva. I don't remember his name. I'm the goat, unfortunately. I'm the Golden Witch, Beatrice. And there were two, because I went to two different primary schools, and there was one at like each primary school in my class. It's great. I mean, like one in each class, yeah. It's so fun not being bounded by any limitations, and the pleasure of being able to do as I will with life and death is truly wonderful. I didn't have to apologize for breaking a goldfish bowl, and I can tear stuffed animals up as much as I want. There was a crisp sound. Crisp. Okay. It was the sound of Hideyoshi slapping the witch's face. Oh. Looking at the hall stained deep red with fresh blood, he should have been able to imagine how terrible the witch was. But without fear, without even hesitating, Hideyoshi had walked determinedly up to her and hit her on the cheek. You fool! Don't act like you're cruel, not when you're really a coward and a weakling. I'll correct that evil nature of yours again if I have to. You fool! Fool! Ow! Ow! Hey! You're a woman who understands how important, how fragile life is, aren't you? I'll make you remember. What are you calling a witch, you stupid fool? You're my wife, who's Shiromiya ever? If anything, you're a witch of the kitchen. You can always make the perfect snacks out of refrigerator leftovers in a flash. Oh, it's so windy outside. Holy crap. See the trees moving. Won't you open your eyes, you fool? Didn't I just tell you that I'm not Ushinomiya ever? You stupid fool. You. As tears dripped down his face. Oh, he's crying. Hideyoshi kept hitting the witch's head. He wasn't even pointing the gun at her anymore. Therefore, that sound of gunfire couldn't have come from the gun Hideyoshi was holding. The gun, which had fallen in the corner near Rudolph's corpse, was floating in the air, and smoke lingered near the barrel. And the bullet? A red stain was slowly spreading across the chest section of Hideyoshi's vest. Rip. Even though his back was facing the barrel of the gun, the bullet had driven through Hideyoshi's chest. Like I said, I'm not Eva. What a stupid, annoying man. You're a pain, so I'll switch the sacrifice of the Sixth Twilight to you. If only you're just hidden under some bed shaking or something, I planned on letting you go. But no, you went to all the trouble of coming back. You really are a stupid man. Thunk. There was a dull sound as Hideyoshi fell to the floor. Latent sexism happening always on the outside. Look, I exhausted all my sexism complaining earlier. Okay, I can't just complain the whole game. That's all that this stream would be. Even though death would have allowed him to escape from that pain, he resisted until the last second. And staring straight into the witch's eyes, he passed away. Because he had died without closing his eyes, the witch didn't realize that he was dead for a short while, and remained pinned by that gaze. Should we make this one a new toy and play? At those words, the witch finally realized that Hideyoshi was dead. Yeah. Right. What do we do? The Chester sisters waited for instructions. On the inside, they imagined the sorts of even more brutal orders their master might give. But the expression that rose to the witch's face looked as though she'd gotten over her excitement. She looked down at Hideyoshi's face, which still had tears dripping down it. It's such a killjoy. It's all that guy's fault. I'm dumb. Hold on over there. Are you there? Yes, right here. Take care of the cleanup. I'll bet the predecessor summer makes a fuss over this one. Please make it clean enough for that old hag to accept. I guess I'll follow the rules of the ceremony, out of a sense of obligation to my predecessor summer. Treat these 3 corpses as the 4th through 6th twilight. Lucifer, it's your turn. And cold coffee tastes like shit. But I mean, tastes really bad. Lucifer of Pride right here. Dig into these 3 corpses and gouge them. Into corpses? That's right. Got a problem with that? No. The 7 Sisters of Purgatory had their own sort of pride. It was the pride of a hunter, the pride of gouging prey that they had brought down themselves. However, being told to gouge a corpse that someone else had brought down ran contrary to that sentiment. Of course, the witch didn't mean it that way, but for the 7 Sisters it was horribly humiliating. However, they had already screwed this up, the 2 of the sisters defeated, so they had no right to question her. Only Ronove appreciated this, and he rested his hand on her shoulder in understanding. This is an order from Beatrice Summer. Lucifer, carry these 3 and dispose of them in accordance with the etiquette of the ceremony. Then, when you are done, I kind of wonder. Maybe in New Zealand English we say etiquette. Maybe that's why I want to say that so badly. I'm gonna have a look. Let me see. Wiktionary, because you never lie. Etiquette. No, it is etiquette. Damn it! I wanted to be right. Wait, Collins English Dictionary, because that's Australian. Collins English Dictionary. There we go. Let's see. Damn it! It's also etiquette. You suck. Fine. I'll be wrong. Fine. Then, when you are done, lend me a hand with the cleanup. Certainly. I don't know who's talking. The witch looked down upon Hideyoshi's corpse, as though implying that the now delicate atmosphere was all Hideyoshi's fault. She's giving him the Naru judge. Stupid man. And you didn't even have to die. Dear. I can't scream too loudly because my landlord is next door and begins. Dear, where are you? You're there, right? Answer me. The crash of a thunderbolt woke Eva from her nightmare. Oh, that's right, because she's all having hysteria, or whatever they call it in the game. That terribleness, yeah. If Hideyoshi had been gripping her hand at that time, her fearful heart would probably have been instantly healed. Oh yes, that's right, they had the Zelda map over there. However, Hideyoshi, who had supposedly sworn that he wouldn't leave even for a moment, was nowhere to be seen in the room. Dear, answer me. I don't remember my voice. Help me, dear. What? What? Oh my god, I was watching a Star Trek episode the other day. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. It was a original series episode, and there was like a woman in that who was like dying or whatever, and she was like screaming. But like, when they come across her, she's being hysterical, being like, "Help again, blah blah blah," and then she dies, and she's like, "Oh!" And she's like screams in pain, like a few times because she's like dying. But it was so like harrowing, like she went all out with the screaming. Like, it was like, oh, holy shit, what, oh god. It was insane. Especially for that series of Star Trek, I think, because there's a lot of, like, really bad acting in the original series. Not that her acting was necessarily good, but her scream was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, she's like, ah! Like, very, yeah, it was not like that, because it was an actual scream, not me squeaking. But yeah, it was... Anyway, kind of hit me. Anyway, 30 minutes had already passed since Rudolph's group had left the guest house. By any measure, their return was too late. It's only been 30 minutes. Sure, it hasn't been 2.5 hours at all. I'm talking about the transporter accident scene. No. What is that scene? I'm on season 2 now of Star Trek, by the way. No, it's not that. They, like, go to this planet, and they go into a place, and there's a woman screaming. Yeah. It describes, like, 80% of Star Trek episodes. By any measure, their return was too late, and Kraus and Natsuhi, who waited by the entrance, were reaching the limits of their patience. The chain was set on the door. That was a precaution in the event that Rudolph's group was attacked, the master key stolen from them. For that reason, they needed to wait by the entrance like this, for the others to return. They really are too late. Don't you think something might have happened to them? Oh, why are these the two that are alive? Or at least him, anyway. Indeed! Kraus glanced between his watch and the door and struggling to keep his composure. Indeed. Yeah, like that. Sure, he's an old man now. If something happened to prevent them from returning. A terrible thought, but it seems we should ready ourselves for that possibility. Can't remember his voice. I know he's supposed to sound like a dick, but I can't remember how. So it really was too reckless after all. There we go. I found it. It really was too reckless after all. That's what I said. Why did they go outside when they knew it was this dangerous? How foolish! Why go outside, even though Rosa-san had just been attacked? Nothing will come of saying that now. At any rate, there are now 3 adults in the guest house. Me, you, and Eva, who's asleep with a high fever. At that time, the forceful sound of a door being opened came from the hallway, and they heard Eva's panicked voice. That voice kept calling out Hideyoshi's name. It seemed as though she had had a bad dream or something due to her fever, and was calling for her husband. Eva-san, what is it? Are you okay? Where is my husband? My husband isn't here. Even though he promised that he'd stay with me the whole time. Even though he promised that he'd grasp my hand the whole time. Kraus was struck dumb by this attitude of hers, which she had never shown in front of him before, but not that he understood her feelings. Calm down. Hideyoshi-san is with Rudolph-san and Kirie-san, and they're outside right now. Outside? Why? Why did he go outside, after he promised that he'd stay with me the whole time? You mustn't go outside. The witch is outside. You mustn't go. You'll be killed. Whoa. Did she just get slapped? Eva, calm yourself. Oh, maybe he pulled out the gun. It sounded like somebody was being slapped. Eva, calm yourself. Hideyoshi-san returned to the mansion with Rudolph and Kirie-san. Why did he have to go to the mansion? Why did he go outside even though it's safe here? Why did he go back to the mansion? Because we're starving to death. They went to get enough food to last until tomorrow. Hideyoshi-san was worried about your health and said that was partly why he wanted to go. When will they come back? When will they come back? Don't go outside. Don't go to the rose garden. Don't go to the mansion. The witch is there. The golden witch is walking about. If she finds you, you'll be killed. You'll definitely be killed. Oh, the landlord's not here. Oh, okay. Good. I can be loud again. When will my husband come back? They left here 30 minutes ago. We're waiting for their return. 30 minutes ago? Isn't that strange? Why would it take so much time for them to go to the mansion to get food and come back? And why are you two just standing around here? We have to go get them. We have to hurry to where they are. Eek! Eva probably had quite a nightmare, and because it had continued even after she woke up, she could no longer hide her panic. Natsuhi tried calming her down, but all it did was make Eva's emotions explode even more. Maybe they heard that disturbance. Battler and the kids, who had supposedly been on the second floor, were peeking their faces through the crack of the lobby door. Kraus, Natsuhi, Eva, and Battler, George, Jessica, and Anjo. Everyone in the guest house had gathered by the entrance and understood the current situation. I agree with Mother. We should go to check on Father and the rest. Yeah, that's right. It's even possible that their load's too heavy and they're having trouble carrying it. They should welcome some extra hands. This happened right after Rosa-san was attacked. This may have been a secondary disaster connected to that. We should act with caution here and... Don't be a fool! What do you mean, caution? Are you saying we should let my husband die, even though he might be begging for help? I'm going to look, and the cowards can stay here. Oh! Looking agitated, Eva raised her gun. Judging by her face, it would be useless for anyone to try and stop her, especially because she's holding a gun. George, who realized that first, raised his head. Oh, look at his face, so serious. I'll go as well. You will too, right, Batlican? The more people, the better. Sure. Aunt Eva, we're coming even if you tell us not to. I'm coming too. I can't be the only one to hide in a safe place. Jessica, you must not go outside. Stay here with me. Got it? It was like they were implying that those three had already been killed anyway, so going outside would be pointless. Natsu realized that Eva felt like her heart had been gouged out, but she spoke out strongly as Jessica's mother. You're right. That should be fine. Let's have Nissan's family keep an eye on the guest house. This is a problem for my family and Batlican's, and I wonder if Dr. Nanjo would mind coming too, just in case. Onto the stream! Craft. Whoa, look at this! Hello. In the hall of the mansion, Battler, Eva, George, and Nanjo found the corpses of Rudolph, Kiria, and Hideyoshi. The 4 through 6 twilights? Then the corpses appear through the forehead, chest, and stomach with those demon stakes? Yes. The demon stakes were buried into them. One in Rudolph's forehead, one in Hideyoshi's chest, and one in Kiria's stomach. I thought it was in her chest. The disorder of the clothing on all three suggested they were fighting or running away. Since the 3 corpses were not found right next to each other, it is hypothesized that after coming into contact with the culprit... Oh, no, right, because, this is the gouging she's talking about. They attempted some form of resistance. And they had stakes in the forehead, chest, and stomach. Horrible. Just like usual. Even though Ronovan knew it would be superfluous, he contemplated telling Battler the truth. Normally, the witch would have killed them in a much, much more horrible way. The corpses had been left in this manner only because Beato had suggested to the witch that she show restraint. The new witch, thinking it would fit well enough as long as she gouged them with stakes, would probably have just stuck a stake into a lump of meat that wasn't even shaped like a human. Rosa's and Maria's corpses were a particularly striking example. If they had been killed as the Golden Witch had wished, just how gruesome would the corpses have been? Beato had changed that into the still better kind of killing Battler had mentioned earlier. This is Umineko no Nakokoro ni, or When the Seagulls Cry. It is a visual novel, and it's kind of like me reading you a really horrific story with silly voices. It does have voice acting, but I turn them off so I can actually read it. Wanting to have Beato's small bit of thoughtfulness appreciated, he thought of telling Battler about this. But, judging by Battler's eyes, that might do more harm than good. This is actually my normal streaming time. It's just not normally on this day. Yeah. Well, it's my regular streaming time. Lately, I've just been streaming whenever I feel like it, which is interesting. But judging by a battler's eyes, that might do more harm than good. To humans, the gap between being alive and being dead is very large. Saying that she'd given them better deaths might have made it possible for a demon to understand her feelings and pardon her. But there was no way a human would be so accepting. Understanding this, Ronove remained silent despite knowing of Beator's modest efforts. I need a drink. I can't drink this cold coffee anymore. I'll be back. Let's see. Hello, gorgeous. Cold, huh? Yeah, it's cold. Ugh, it's been raining, so it's really cold right now. I mean, it is raining, so it is cold, yes. Just like usual, let's start by checking whether the corpses are dead. Oh, that's Batlika talking. Just like usual, let's start by checking whether the corpses are dead. Ronove, please declare it in red. Hey, can't you hear me? Please declare it in red. Repeat it. Rudolph, Kiria, and Hideyoshi are dead. My apologies. Allow me to decline from repeating that. The hell? What are you planning all of a sudden? By now proclaiming that the victims were dead in red was almost a given in this battle. Refusing to do that was almost like losing by default. So when Ronove refused as part of his first move, Battler was dumbfounded. My apologies. As of this moment, I relinquish my position as Milady's representative. Accordingly, I cannot repeat that in red, and the only one qualified to repeat that is Milady. His point is a valid one. Ronove is only a representative for Beato's side. If he steps down from that position, and if you will not accept Beato as an opponent, a new representative must be named. No new representative exists. Please, Butler-sama, please accept Milady as your game partner once more. Sorry, but that's advice I can't listen to. I definitely won't accept that unpleasant, cruel bastard as my opponent. My refusal to accept her is why I can't step down from this game. As to her being unpleasant, I apologize in Milady's stead. Allow me to pledge that Milady will not undertake such unpleasant actions again. I wonder about that. Batlor-kun, I also want to apologize as that child's teacher. I'll give that child a good talking to, so please offer your forgiveness just this once. Hey, enough of that. You're making it sound like I'm the bad guy. No matter how much you guys apologize, I won't reach my ears. If Beato can say that from her own lips, well, I might listen to her. Understood. If that is your only condition for acknowledging your opponent again, let us have that child apologize. Ronove, call for that child. Will that be alright, Batlor-kun? Sheesh. Do whatever you want. Still, don't expect me to forgive her. Go get that irritating witch. You have my thanks, Batlor-sama. I shall summon her here. Milady, Batlor-sama's calling for you. After a few heartbeats, gold butterflies gathered together in midair and created Beato's form. Well, I heard something outside. It was a much more docile appearance than the ones she had made before. Did you call, Ronove? I believe you heard. Is there something you have to say from your own lips? What is even happening right now? It looked as though Beato shrunk slightly under Battler's cold gaze. Several times, Beato made an effort to get the words out of her mouth, but that didn't work so well, and she was just as awkward as someone trying to light a match during a freezing winter with icy hands. Even as she did that, the game board was advancing. In the hall, they had just found the corpses of the new victims and had broken down, crying. Oh, this is... okay. Not... yeah. Dad! Kiria-san! Ooh! Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Dear... dear... Ah. Mother, hang in there. Even for me, it's so crushing. Who's talking? I don't know. So sad. So sad. So sad. They probably died instantly. I'm sure that even if we had arrived immediately after they fell, it would have been too late. No, that's wrong. They were definitely alive. His chest was stabbed with something like this. My husband must have died in extreme pain. If we had come faster, surely they would have been saved. They would definitely have been saved. Wah. I hate the crying noise, having to do the crying noises. Because people don't cry like that in real life. Only in Japanese things do they cry like that. Wah! Or at least I don't cry like that in real life. I cry silently. It's very quiet. Yes. It must be tough for you too, Batlican, but stay strong. I'm okay. It's okay, Aniki. Let me cry just a little bit longer. I've got it the best. I should be the least sad. So if you let me cry just a little longer, I'll be fine. That isn't true. I can understand how much it must hurt your heart to have lost both parents. I still have Mother. And that's much better than what you're going through, Batlican. Why are you telling him this? Oh my god. No. That's wrong. It's got to be toughest for you, George Aniki. I understand, Aniki. In this group, you're the saddest, and the one who has it the toughest. I understand that. So I can't keep on sobbing like this. Why do you say it's toughest for me? To me, Dad and Kiria-san were people I'd eventually split up with when I grew up and became independent. Since our parents, it was fated that they'd die before their kids. It just happened a little too early, that's all. But it's different for you, Aniki. You didn't just lose your parents. You would have parted who would have parted ways with you eventually. And you also lost Shaman-chan. Someone you should have spent the rest of your life with. Rip. You can't value human lives differently. Whether it's a baby or an old person, they should all be respected the same. But still, the more life that person has ahead of them, the longer the future you're building together is, the sadder the fact of their death is. Who's talking? I don't know! Aniki, you were engaged to Shaman-chan, right? You promised that you'd build a life and a home together in the future, right? Compared to how huge that future was, compared to how huge their happiness was, stuff like my pain doesn't even come close. So you should be allowed to cry much, much more, Aniki. And yet, just because you act like a big brother to us cousins, you force yourself to act like you're so calm. Stop it, Batlican. George was trying to make a calm smile. But already, he couldn't stop a single hot tear from leaving a streak down his face. There's no way I wouldn't be sad, right? Together with Shannon, I painted a picture of many futures in my mind. We talked of dreams that couldn't all come true even if we lived 100 years. Of those dreams, even the very first one, having her move into my family register, could not be granted. So there's no way I wouldn't be sad, right? Compared to that, Like I said, I have no right to cry anymore. When even you're struggling to hold it in, I have no right to shed any more tears. We're the same. We both feel the same sadness from losing those close to us. So there's no rule that says you can't shed any more tears than me, Butlercone. And for me too, there's no rule that says I have to hold back my tears any longer. Is there? Aniki. Aniki. Ma. Shannon, the one who shared my dreams for the future, is dead. Father's dead too. So sad. So sad. As Battler and George hugged each other tightly, they cried a waterfall of tears over each other's shoulders for the people who had been so precious to them. That was sad. Do you understand why I said that George Anarchy has it the toughest? Why do I hear a voice? What is this music? Is this new music? Ooh, it's pretty. I was listening, so I understand. Your sadness is proportional to the length of time you would have been able to spend with that person afterwards. Of course you can't calculate it just like that, though. We humans aren't like you witches. From the time we receive life to the moment we die, we live within that limited period as strong as we can manage. I can't forgive anyone who makes light of that. And I definitely can't forgive anyone who sneers at people and toys with them. A person like you, whose very concept of death is all screwed up, probably can't understand that. I'm not just mad because of the length of time they would have lived afterwards. It's sneering at the lives of people living with all they've got. That's what I can't forgive the most. George Aniki lived his life by recklessly doing his best. He must have approached this day with a grim resolve to marry Shannon-chan no matter the challenges. That's completely different from me, since I was happy just to be able to meet my cousins after a long while. But still... Beato, for now, stay silent and listen. Indeed. In a way, I understand your point. You say you need to continue murdering according to the epitaph for your own resurrection. So, considering your circumstances, I can just barely bring myself to understand your murders. Because to you, it's a necessary course of action. But that means all unnecessary actions you take beyond that are due to your meaningless and brutal tastes. In other words, if killing the 6 people for the first Twilight was a necessary action for you, then all that show of crushing their faces and splitting their stomachs and stuffing them full of sweets was completely unnecessary, and caused by nothing more than your brutal hobby. That's an aspect of you that I definitely cannot forgive. Indeed. When you saw Aunt Rosa getting repeatedly killed in that horrible way, you apparently said something like, if they're going to be brought back to life in the end anyway, it doesn't matter how they're killed. I heard from Virgilia. Well, as to that... that idea that you can kill them as many times as you want, as long as you bring them back to life in the end. Isn't that a completely unnecessary action with no purpose other than to toy around with someone's life? If you're gonna kill, do it instantly. Don't toy with them. If you won't kill them, then don't bully them. You're taking advantage of the fact that you can do as you will with people's lives, and you've forgotten the sanctity of life. So I can't accept or acknowledge you. I definitely can't accept as my opponent a person who doesn't know the value of a life, or the sadness felt when lives are lost. Doesn't make any sense, but okay. That is why the endless magic is known as a black art. I thought they said black ant. The endless witch has no concept of limitations. She has no concept of the limitations and losses caused by breaking and killing. For that reason, endless witches sometimes start playing by jumping over the gap between life and death. Like it's a game. That is a very, very frightening thing. So, as an endless witch, and by my own choosing, I never reached your level. It was something Vigilia had been trying to tell Vigilia had been trying to tell Beato for a long time. But Beato had been too young to obediently listen to those words. She had been too wild. She had been possessed by that detestable pleasure. I've been told not to break vases, but that's why I wanted to break them. Then I gained the endless magic. And I knew that I could fix them back to normal no matter how badly I broke them. I was surprised at how fun it could be to break a vase. That is what's known as the forbidden honey. Forbidden honey? People are not captivated by what's inside. They're captivated by the sealed lock. It is truly regrettable. I want to ask you, Vigilia, what is this thing called the endless... Why does this thing called the endless magic exist? For what purpose does it exist in this world? It is not limited to the endless magic. All magic exists to bring happiness to the human world. After everything that has happened, it may be difficult for you to believe that, but in order to bring blessings to the human world, we witches are supposed to become bridges between humans and non-humans, and that is why we train so hard. How does reviving the dead and torturing them to death over and over again help the human world? When a vase that was an important memento is broken, if by fixing it everyone will regain their smiles, I would repair it with magic as many times as necessary. However, I would not be fixing it in order to break it again. I would be reviving it to give humans happiness. In that case, Beato, you fail as an endless witch. Indeed. There's this thing I've been vaguely thinking about. Why do I keep playing this strange game against you? Maybe this game isn't about making me surrender. Maybe it's a test for you to be accepted as an endless witch, in the truest sense. I don't know about that. The reason I proposed this game to you was simply as a way to kill time. There were no ulterior motives at work. Just now I heard the definition of a witch from Vigilia. By that definition, you, Beato, are not even a witch. You're an apprentice who's still in training, and who misunderstands your own power. This was supposed to be a fight between a witch and a human. If you aren't a witch, then you aren't qualified to be my opponent. Understand? You say I am still only an apprentice? Then when will I be accepted as your opponent once again? When can we resume this game? Who knows? At the very least, it isn't now. When you fully understand what I've said and become a real witch, I'll probably accept you as my opponent in this game once more. I can't understand if you say it so abstractly like that. Clearly tell me what I should do to earn your forgiveness. No, I've said enough. You think about the rest. That's all I want to say. If you can't figure it out, try talking with Vigilia and Ronove. A brat like you should start off by listening to what the adults say. Vigilia, suspend the game for now. Now that Ronove has stepped down as a representative, all we can do is wait for Beato to gain the qualifications of a proper opponent. Understood. Until Beato has been acknowledged as having earned those qualifications, the game will proceed without an opponent. Is that alright with you too, Beato? I have no objections. I want time and a place where I can think at a leisurely pace. May I leave my seat for that? Yeah, that's fine. Well then, see you later. Wait. Don't make that dejected face. Sorry about that. Letting everything inside my heart show up on my face is part of my personality. I cannot deceive. And maybe there's still some hope for you. Let me promise you one thing. In this game with you, I might win, and I might lose. If I don't come back, it might be my victory by default. At that point, Battler stopped talking for a second. Then he spoke forcefully. However, I definitely won't be the one to step down. I definitely won't give you a victory by default. I'll keep on waiting here for you to sit there again as my worthy opponent. Battler Summer. Thank you, Battler. I will definitely come back and be accepted by you. After showing a hopeful smile for a very short while, Beathel vanished, after seeing her expression as she left. Battler was absolutely convinced that her face could tell no lies. Interesting. Oh, alright. Well, I think I might end the stream here. I know it hasn't been very long. It's only been like 2.5 hours. But I'm really hungry. And I really have to clean and stuff, so yeah. Unfortunately. But this is like kind of the end of the scene, so maybe it's kind of a good time to stop. But thank you everybody for coming to the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to all my patrons. There they are. For being wonderful and supporting me. I really appreciate it. Yeah. I hope you had a good wait, what is the day? It's now Monday, right? I hope you had a good start to your week. I will see you next time. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow or not. I'm not really sure. It depends on what I have to do. I really don't know what I have to do. I'll have to think about it. But it won't be this anyway. It would be like a simulator or something. But anyway, thank you everybody for coming. And I will see you later. What is this little cat? Bye-bye.